I want to run something by you. Over the last year of Rising Hyperland, you've read documentation that nobody assigned you, you've debugged systems that nobody taught you, and you have made hundreds of design decisions that literally nobody graded. You've written scripts, parsed stuff like config syntaxes for Hyperland, for, sway and C, for waybar, and all sorts of other stuff. You've built stuff like custom theme switchers if you have done that, then solved problems that you didn't even have the vocabulary for when you first started out. And somewhere in the back of your head, you probably still think of this as messing around with your computer. It's not. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what Rising Hyperland is actually teaching you, because once you see those skills laid out, you'll realize that you've actually been building a toolkit that most people pay thousands of dollars to learn inside a classroom. What's going on, everyone? I'm Sane. I've been Rising Hyperland for about 4 years now, and I've taught lots of people how to rise it for themselves. And today I want to break down the real transferable skills that come out of Rising Hyperland, okay? Because of the fact that I've been doing this for 4 years, I can confidently say that there is quite a lot that you can get out of this craft. Not vague stuff like it makes you better with computers, hand waving, stuff like that, no. But actually, specific skills with specific examples that end up showing in jobs, in projects, and how you literally think about everything. Okay, so the first skill I want to talk about, let's actually switch the theme to something darker so you can read this more effectively. Okay, there you go. Now let's just change this to the desert one. This one actually looks very good. Okay, fantastic. I'll open neovim center and okay. So first one is systems thinking. Systems thinking. Now what is this? It's most likely the most valuable skill that you're going to acquire while Rising Hyperland on this list. See, when you configure Hyperland, you're not just configuring one thing, right? You're managing an ecosystem. Your compositor has settings that affect your bar. Your bar runs scripts that depend on system services, okay? Most likely that's going to be something like wireplumber if you're using AGS because, that's a system service. You have to hook into the different libraries that, the wireplumber has and stuff like that. You also, when you're changing your wallpaper, let's say, a cascade of events fires through your entire stack. So most likely you have a script, which when is actually calling something like awww or waypaper or whatever other tool is going and doing stuff in the background and okay, talking to the daemon, which is actually changing the wallpaper, the layer that you end up seeing on your background, that is a lot of stuff that's basically going on, right? You learn this by breaking it. You change a font size in your terminal config, let's say, and then suddenly your bar looks off because the proportions are wrong, right? One font size is too big when compared to the other, and then it just ends up looking off, and that's not good. You update a package, let's say, and then your color generator outputs a different format, and now 3 templates are broken. Most likely, that's going to be Matugen because there's been quite a lot of new features that have been added recently. You add a keybind, let's say, okay? That conflicts with a window rule, and something that you didn't even touch ends up stopping working. Now, every one of those moments forces you to trace a problem across multiple systems. Figure out where exactly the chain broke and then fix it without breaking something else downstream. That is systems thinking. It's the core skill behind stuff like software engineering, and then you have your DevOps, infrastructure management, product design, any field where you're working with interconnected parts. And you did not learn it from a textbook because trust me, there are fat textbooks out there to teach you all about systems thinking. You have inputs, outputs, processes, and then you have a feedback loop, and then you have the environment in which the entire system is in. Yeah. You did not learn any of that, and instead what you did is learned it because your waybar disappeared and you had to figure out why. That's a better teacher than any course could be because the feedback was immediate. The stakes were personal and you actually cared about the outcome, right? Second skill is design. And I don't mean actually just making things look pretty, I mean the actual discipline of visual communication. Every time you choose a color, you're making a decision about contrast and hierarchy. Like, consider these two themes, for example, okay? Right now I have noir, and this seems to be a very high contrast, very amazing looking theme. And let's say I wanted to switch the theme to something that was a bit more, what do you call it? Let's say that was a bit more vibrant, okay? The most vibrant theme that I have here is either going to be anime or is the Horizon theme. So when you compare these two, as you can see, there is quite a lot of difference when it comes to design. The Horizon theme is not exactly the most minimal one, okay? It's perhaps one of the more flamboyant themes that I have, and being the case, you're going to have to theme it accordingly. You can't just slap a random wallpaper on this and call it a day. You're going to have to actually choose a wallpaper that has colors that end up meshing with the rest of the color scheme. You have to choose a font that actually goes with the theme as well. And a lot of thought actually ends up going into choosing, the different parts of a particular aesthetic, okay? Now, here's what actually makes Rising especially powerful as a design practice. The feedback loop is instant. You change a hex value, and then you end up seeing the result immediately. Let's say that you end up adjusting spacing, right? Here, let's say the spacing is something like 2 pixels or 4 pixels. You change it, and then it renders in real time. You try a font, it's right there. In a formal design education, you might spend a week on a project before actually getting feedback from an instructor. Think about that. That sounds absolutely insane when you compare the sheer speed of iteration that we have got going on when it comes to writing, right? And you're also doing this across multiple surfaces simultaneously. Your bar, your terminal, launcher, notifications, your borders, wallpaper, they all have to feel like they belong together, right? It's not just about picking nice colors, because then you can pick lots of nice colors, and if they don't match, well, the entire thing's going to look like shit anyway, so it doesn't matter. So what you have to do is pick colors that feel like they belong together. And that's not just picking nice colors, that's actually building a design system, a cohesive visual language across multiple interfaces. Designers at companies actually, end up getting paid serious money to do exactly this, and you're practicing it every time you sit down to write. Over hundreds of sessions, your eye gets sharp. You start noticing spacing in apps that you use, you start seeing typography on websites, you start having opinions about color palettes in places that have nothing to do with Linux. That's not obsession, that's a trained design sensibility, and it transfers everywhere. And you know what? Even if it were an obsession, think about what a cool obsession that is to have. While every other normie out there is just doing normie things like using their applications without a care in the world, okay, you are actually one that pays attention to detail, that takes that attention to detail and then does something with it, creates something of value, something that actually helps you and perhaps, others, in the sense that if you're actually, sharing your config or whatnot, you're helping others realize their own setups as well, which is just freaking amazing. So this hobby that we have, okay, that all of us have as Hyprland users, is quite something to be cherished and not to actually be confused with a waste of time, as most people do. The third skill, okay, I want to call creative problem solving. Specifically solving problems within constraints. And this one is everywhere in Rising, right? Waybar doesn't support the layout that you want. Your config format can't do stuff like conditional logic. The CSS property that you need doesn't end up working in GTK CSS. Stuff like that. The script that you end up writing breaks when the output has spaces, font rendering differently at different sizes, animation looking great at 300 milliseconds, but then drops frames at 200. Just bullshit like that, right? Every one of these is a constraint, and every one of them forces you to find a creative workaround. You learn to pipe things to sed, for example, in your scripts. You learn to nest different scripts. You learn to fake layouts with creative padding and then margin hacks, and then using tools that you have in ways that creators that actually never intended. This skill, working within limitations instead of actually being stopped by them, is one of the most sought-after qualities in any technical or creative field. Engineers, they deal with hardware limitations. Designers, they deal with brand guidelines. Developers, legacy code bases. The people who thrive in those environments are the people who see a constraint and then think, okay, how do I work around this, instead of, well, I guess I can't do it. Rising trains that reflex every single session. Fourth skill, fourth skill is self-directed learning. So, self-directed learning. I'm actually putting the hyphens in between each word, like problem solving and then self-directed, because I have OCD. That's just another thing that comes as par for the course when you have been writing for so long. And to be honest, I've been writing Hyprland for 4 years, but actually when I properly started writing, it was back on Windows in 2020 with the different themes and then the cursors and taskbar X, if you remember what that is. Yeah, so I've been doing this for quite some time to really make sure to pay attention to the details. Great. Now, for the fourth one, nobody taught you how to write. Think about that. There's no curriculum, there's no teacher, there's no structured path that takes you from what's a config file to I have a fully custom desktop with dynamic theming and handwritten scripts. You build that path yourself. And actually, the previous statement, there used to be nothing like that until I created Hyper Accelerator. It's a program that has over 10 hours of content that teaches you exactly how you can go from a plain ass Hyprland setup to something that looks exactly like this, with custom theme switchers, wallpaper switchers, notification daemons, literally anything that you can ask for. Okay, and best part is that it doesn't just apply to one thing. If I open lots of stuff like this, okay, watch what happens. I just have to, okay, here, there you go. Now let's say I change the theme to something like Rosé Pine. Ta-da, everything changes immediately, right? This is the kind of stuff that I teach you inside of the program. So if you want to learn something like this yourself, and then not just copy and paste dotfiles that you end up seeing, and then end up breaking stuff as you have always done, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description right now, and check out the program. I wish a program like this existed when I first started writing Hyprland, because, man, it has saved so many people so many time, and it would have saved me all the time and frustration and jumping off of the bridge kind of feelings that I had back then. It's pretty much insane. Now, anyway, yes, so you read the Hyprland wiki, you read man pages, you read other people's dot files, you searched through GitHub issues when something broke, parsing error messages, finding forum posts from friggin' 2019 that was almost about your problem, and then adapted solutions. And then you watch the video, tried it for yourself, hit a wall, and then figure out the rest alone. That process, identifying what you don't know, finding the information, applying it, and then troubleshooting when it doesn't work, iterating until it does, is the fundamental skill of self-directed learning. And it's the skill that makes every other skill acquirable. Once you know how to teach yourself, you can teach yourself anything. Most formal education, okay, literally doesn't teach this because most formal education gives you the information prepackaged. What's the point? Here's the reading, here's the lecture, here's the assignment, blah, blah, blah. Hardest part, figuring out what to learn and where to find it, is done for you. In Rising, you do that part yourself, every time. Now, there does come a point of diminishing returns when you're just jumping from place to place instead of actually doing the Rising, in which case it does make sense to take a look at programs that can actually help you with that, but that I'm pretty sure you would know as well, so I'm going to leave that as a point. Now, the fifth skill is code literacy. Let's put that down, code literacy. Now, what does that mean? Right? Okay, a lot of writers don't realize they've developed this because they don't think of what they do as coding, but look at what you actually work with. Hyprland's config is a structured language with variables, conditionals, and keywords. Let's go to let's just go to animations, for example. Animations.conf. This is, okay, not this one. Well, we'll go somewhere else. Window rules, right? You have lots of conditional stuff. Okay, you have stuff like curly braces that you would find in normal code as well. Yeah, basically, lots of coding-like things. Waybar config is JSON with embedded format strings. Your bar styles, they're all CSS. Your automation is pretty much all bash scripting, or Python if you're into that. Your theming pipeline might involve something like, again, bash scripts, and then perhaps some other files if you're using them, something like a Python script in order to fetch something, if you were doing it that way, but pretty much it's going to be bash, right? The window rules, as I just showed you, they are basically logic statements. If this condition, then this action. You read and write structured text that matches machines actually interpret. That's programming. It might not look like a full software project, with all the files that you have, and then a billion different stuff that the IDEs and text editors do, but then the foundational skills, they're identical. Right? You understand syntax, you understand data flow, how to debug when the output doesn't match your expectation, variables, strings, paths, and the difference between a logic error and a syntax error. That's pretty much most of what you're going to need when you're coding. People spend months in coding bootcamps to reach the level of code comfort that active writers develop organically. You got there because you wanted your bar to show the right workspace indicator. The motivation was different, but the skill is the same. Sixth one is taste. This is a good one. The last one, okay, this isn't technical, but I think it might be the most underrated. Rising develops taste. The ability to look at something and know whether it works, to feel whether something is slightly off even if you can't articulate why, and to distinguish between stuff like this is fine and then this is right. Taste is developed through volume, through thousands of micro decisions, this color of that one, this spacing of that one, this or that font, stuff like that. Evaluate it against your own sense of what's actually good. You cannot be taught taste in a lecture, right? Come on, just think about how the instructor would even go about doing that. It's impossible. It can only be built through reps, and Rising gives you more reps per hour than almost any other creative activity because the feedback is instant and the iteration cycle is measured in seconds. People with developed taste become better designers, better writers, better engineers, better communicators, because taste isn't just about aesthetics, it's about quality, right? It's about caring whether something is good enough. That sensibility applies to code quality, to writing quality, presentation, to literally anything that you make. So here's what all of this adds up to. Now let's change this back. Great. System thinking, design, problem solving under constraints, self-directed learning, code literacy, taste. That's not a hobby skill list, that's a career foundation. Those 6 skills in combination describe someone who can learn anything, build anything, design anything, and fucking debug anything. And you developed all of them by doing something that you actually enjoy. Not by grinding, not by forcing yourself through a curriculum that you actually hate, by sitting down at your computer, opening your config, and building something that you care about. That's rare, dude. Most skill development requires discipline to push through the boring parts, right? Rising skips the boring parts because there are none, not when it's your desktop and your vision and your creative expression. The learning is embedded in the fun. That's not a weakness of the activity, that's literally its superpower. So the next time someone, including yourself, dismisses Rising as something just like making your computer look pretty, you know the answer. You're not just decorating, you're practicing 6 skills that transfer to every technical and creative field that exists. And you're doing it voluntarily for fun with nobody pointing a gun at your head. That's not a waste of time, that's, if I had to say, okay, pretty much, objectively, the most efficient learning environment you could possibly design. And if you want to take those skills and build something you're genuinely proud of, a Hyprland setup that you designed, configured, and understand from top to bottom, Hyper Accelerator gives you the path. You can learn how to make stuff like custom theme switchers, stuff like applying mental models, where I have covered quite a lot of mental models, as you can see over here, to basically prevent you from ever encountering an issue again, and even if you do, solving it in the quickest, simplest of ways so that you don't have to waste any more time than you did just, messing around with the editor. And let's see what else is over here. You have lots of other bonuses as well. My current dot files, Meridian, so you can actually rip them apart and then just take a look and see what I've done personally. And then quite a lot of stuff as you're seeing over here. So if you want, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description right now and check out the program. And if this video resonated with you and you want to see what it looks like to take one of these skills and then go deep on it, go watch my video on why your setup peaked. It's about recognizing when your current skills have hit a ceiling and how to break through to the next level. That's the natural step from what we ended up talking about today, right? Like the video if you hit like, if you loved it and want to see more like this in your feed, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay rising.